Welcome, everyone. This is how massage therapists reach 5 to 10K a month, especially when they have a system installed. This is something I've learned in my business over the last few years, really 7 years. Um, in those 7 years, I haven't done just massage. I've done other health and wellness, hypnosis, coaches, therapists. But this one's really about how you as a massage therapist can consistently reach five to $10,000 a month when you have the right things in place. And what I want to do is not make it anything fancy, but really just good information to help you. The quickest way I found is really using ads. So I wanted to start out why most ads actually fail. It's not because you're a bad massage therapist. It's not because you don't have the skills. It's mostly because of um, they're not marketed right, right? Like you know your audience. You even if you have a small budget, it's okay. I'll go over someone later that does $10 a day. Um, and most time I recommend people just doing $25 a day, nothing crazy. It doesn't work because Facebook's not working anymore. It's really before that, right? We look at massage as a commodity versus an asset. So typically, what happens is when someone lands on your page, right? They see your ad, they see your page. All they see is a list of services, right? They see Swedish massage, deep tissue, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours, and next to each one is just a price, right? And I get it. You look at other companies such as whether it's the big chains, and that's what they do, right? They just go, you get this for this price, and it works for them. It works for them because they do quantity over quality, and they have the ad spend to do that. Where when we're smaller, whether we're single, whether we have only two, three, maybe five, we don't have that luxury of being able to throw $1 million ads and just you will get the ones that are price shopping. What we need is something more consistent on a lower budget, right? Which means we have to be better as massage therapists, right? So take a moment to think about your page. Does it do that, right? Does it just list your services? Oh, I do Swedish massage, hot towel, um, CBD oil. I do 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 2 hours, half hour, right? Take a moment, just go, is that what my page is? Because what you're doing in that is you're actually hurting yourself and everyone around you because now your price comparison, right? So someone comes to your site and they go, oh, they do 90 minutes for 150. Let me go over to this guy. He's right down the road. Oh, they're 90 minutes for 138. Well, they're $2 cheaper. Let me just go with them, right? You become this competition with everyone. And the moment you really start selling massage like it's a menu item, you're inviting people just to think and shop and do the same thing that they do for gas, for groceries, for their phone plans, right? They stop asking, do I trust this person? Do I trust that they're going to help me? And they just go, who's cheaper? That's the one I'll go with. And so this is the hard truth. Massage is not apples to apples. It really is apples to oranges. Even if you're offering the same service, you are not the same because two massage therapists, they have different experiences, they do different pressure, they have different presence, different intuitions. They ultimately have different outcomes, right? And so you're not just apple to apples. Yes, you're giving the same fulfillment, but the way you handle it is very different. Yet you're treating your business, your sales, your website, your marketing as something that's interchangeable, right? And so when you start doing that, the market does what the market does. It compares, it negotiates, it goes, all right, like this one's cheaper, this one's closer, this one's, better, right? Because it's those things. Also take a moment to think of your customers that are your diehard fans. Is it because of your price? Is it because of your website? or is it because of you as a person? They see you as an orange in a world full of apples, right? They see why you're different. They felt why you're different. That's why so many of you and so many amazing massage therapists struggle, right? It's why they can't compete with the chains and the high volume clinics that get to win over price and convenience. It's not because they're better, but it's because the way the their massage is marketed. It just gives them that little advantage because you can't compete with them and you shouldn't be able to compete with them. I always learned it as, does McDonald's have the best cheeseburgers around? No, right? There's high-end restaurants that sell, $5,000 cheeseburgers, but you know what? McDonald's outsells for the price, for the convenience, not because they're better, right? Think of the big change as those McDonald's mentality. They're just in it to get the cheapest and the most out of that. You can really talk to anyone that works for those places. I guarantee you they feel burnt out, they're tired, they just feel like they're just constantly moving and not in a good way, right? And so the moment you list on your website Swedish or deep tissue with a price, you volunteer to be compared. And once comparison becomes the game, trust disappears from the decision. So that's why most of these ads fail. So before we go any further, I want to be clear about who this is for so you don't waste your time. This is going to be one of my longer trainings, my longer teachings to really help people who are in the right space get what they need to be successful. What I'm doing here is not generic marketing training, right? This is not designed for everyone. This today, what I'm doing, this webinar is really for massage therapists who want consistent, predictable bookings, not that, oh, I'm busy this week, I'm dry for the next 3 weeks. Oh, I got people here, but not there. You want the consistency of getting new people in your door so you can use your amazing skills to help them just become raving fans, right? Loyal followers. This is also for the massage therapists who are tired of copying what everyone else is doing and wondering why copying someone else's stuff doesn't work for you, right? It's for those who want clients walking in already confident, comfortable, trusting that they made the right choice before they get on that table. And if that really sounds like you, you're in the right place. So understand what I'm teaching today is not for everyone. This is not about discount driven business to be the cheapest option. A lot of times I recommend people increasing their prices because you will fall into a category all on your own that no one can compare you to anyone else. And don't sell yourself short because you have trained, like you spent time in getting licensed. You deserve to get paid for that, right? This isn't a boost your post and hope it works, right? I've definitely been there, done that, where we just throw money at ads and hope it's going to work, right? This is definitely not for people who are looking for gimmicks, shortcuts, quick, fixes and stuff like that and hacks. We're building a business that works on trust. That's how you build a successful massage business. While there's nothing wrong really with the gimmicks, the hacks, the shortcuts, they're not sustainable long term and they're really not sustainable for growth, right? There are different types of businesses, not the ones I deal with and the ones I have found to be extremely successful and helpful. What we're talking about here is about building that dream, that machine that's stable, that's consistent, right? We're not going to rely on panic marketing every time the schedule has a few open slots because it's not going to matter. You're going to enjoy that time, right? This is about building the kind of business you want to build and to keep going for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, maybe passing it on, selling it, growing it, becoming that leader and teaching others, right? So, with that, everything I'm going to share from you comes from being inside the massage businesses. It's not for me studying from the outside. I'm going to go over real numbers from my own business and show you how it works and what it looks like, right? I have worked with massage therapists at different stages from brand new, just graduated. They don't want to work for the chains, like, right? They just want to go out on their own and they really truly believe themselves, right? They're trying to fill their first calendar. I've also worked with established therapists who've been doing this for 20 years, and they're just trying to stabilize their income without burning out, without fear, without how am I going to pay my bills next month, right? And it's one where after you see this up close, you're going to see certain things that are going to show up again and again. Because the therapist who struggles, they're not struggling because they're bad at massage. They're struggling because no one ever taught them how to actually fill their calendar, right? Being a good massage therapist and having a business that does massage are two different things, right? The massage therapist side of you is the part that's the fulfillment. That is the end of the road. And everything that makes you money comes from before, right? It's the behind the scenes stuff. So while you'll see a lot of things out there, a lot of ads, a lot of programs, they're really aimed at being a generic massage therapist. And you see the ones, and I know I've seen them where the $7 copy our ads. Well, here's the thing. If there are 30, massage therapists in the area and all 30 saw that same $7 ad and all 30 bought that $7 ad, they're going to use the same ads and you never actually stand out, right? It's just borrowed information. And but in my experience, that borrowed information, it might work for a minute, but it doesn't work long term. You know, I have learned, and this is through, whew, I have probably spent about $250,000 in learning marketing alone, right? It's not how it works, right? You're not selling a product that someone can return. You're not selling just convenience of you're the person down the road. You're asking someone to trust you with their pain, with their vulnerability, with their body. Like, think about that for a moment. They need to trust you to want to stick around, to want to come back. And that's a big part of why, like, a lot of the ads and the messaging we do misses because it's a very unconscious thing for them to have that trust. Not like they just wake up and they go, oh man, I trust this. Right? You can have a flashy website and they may go, oh man, I remember I went to a car dealership and they had a flashy website and man, they didn't take care of me. It's very unconscious. They're not going, oh man, that's what happened, right? It's just that pain inside of their experiences that slow them down. And so, because they're asking you to trust them and they need to trust you, it's why it can fail if you just use it, right? It produces the clicks, it produces the traffics, but it doesn't produce the confidence that you are the one to actually help them. So, if you take anything away from so far, this is the big difference between running ads and running a business. Ads means getting attention. Running a business means you're building trust, bookings, and long-term client, right? That's it. When we think about your only goal in a business, it's not clicks, it's not likes, it's not hearts, it's not shares, it's bookings, it's trust, it's long-term clients. So yes, a lot of people can show you how to run ads, but very few, in my experience, understand what has to exist around those ads, the landing page specific, right, to actually grow. And so this is where the belief of everything I built this, video on is being a great massage therapist does not automatically create a great massage business. While skill is essential, skill alone doesn't explain why some calendars stay full and others stay empty. And so that's what we're going to talk about before we get into the meat and potatoes of how to actually set it up right. So, in my experience, again, I'll gotta say that because everything I talk about today is from my experience. There's some big lies that we get told, right? There's ideas that are repeated, um, that we hear them so much that we believe they're actually facts. And the truth is, you probably heard them. So the first one I hear an awful lot is people don't read anymore, right? They want short form because it converts better, or just show relaxing images and let the visuals do the work, right? These are things that I hear all the time from people. And when I look at websites, that's what you have, right? You have the website that's short form that has a nice picture that has the nice big pop-ups and moving pictures, and you go, well, it's not working, right? I have all that stuff. Why are people not booking with me? And the truth is, none of these are true in the context of massage, because in other industries where it's an impulse buy, those work great. But massage therapy is not one of those industries, right? When someone is choosing massage therapy, they're not just choosing a service, they're choosing a person, they're choosing the environment, they're choosing whether they feel safe enough to walk in the door to trust someone with their pain, right? The idea that people don't read comes from watching how people scroll, not understanding how they decide to stop and look at something and read something, right? People read when they're unsure. They read when they've been burned before, and they read when decisions matter. And massage matters. So, short form, it can work, but only when trust already exists, right? When a person already knows you, believes in you, and doesn't need reassurance, short form works really well. It reminds me, so when I first got into business for myself, I used to hang out with this person that is or sold at the time audiobooks. And I remember just being at his house and just talking to him, and he was like, yeah, he's like, I do pretty well for myself. And talking, I go, well, how easy is it? And he pulls out his laptop and he sits down and he goes, all right, I just got this new audiobook that I'm able to sell. I have a list of 100,000 people. Let me just send a quick email. Hey, everyone, I got this new book. It's really great, blah, blah, blah. Click here to buy it. Within 2 hours, he made $17,000. Holy cow. I was like, that's simple. That's amazing. That's easy. And when I got into business, that was in the forefront of my mind, right? And I sat down. I was like, okay, I got 400 people on my list. Hey, everyone, I got this open appointment. You want to come on in? Crickets, nothing. It wasn't until years later that I really understood he he worked hard to have his entire email list know him, to believe in him. So he could just send an email out going, hey, I got this new book. It's really great. Trust me, you're going to love it. That his followers were like, done. He built that trust with them, right? Most massage therapists are asking strangers to trust them with their body just in seconds. And so when we look at everything going on with our websites and stuff like that, it's not just a copy problem, it's a trust problem. And so you have those relaxing images and it doesn't build trust. And believe it or not, it has people go, I've seen that before. I've seen that places where they don't fulfill their promises, right? And so while that calming photo may stop someone from scrolling, it doesn't answer the questions they're afraid to ask. It doesn't explain why you're different and how you can actually help them. It doesn't help them decide if you're the right choice for them. So, first reframe, I want everyone to write it down. If you need, people don't hate reading. They hate being sold without being understood. When someone feels seen, heard, and understood, they don't mind reading it all. They actually lean in. Right? Now, let's get into the more fun, enjoyable stuff. Ads. What do they actually do? This is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings about advertising is that ads are there to convince people. They're not. Ads don't persuade, they don't build trust, and they definitely don't close the sale and get you booked. Ads are there for something simpler and much more important. They sort. An ad's real job is to create a first moment of recognition. It quietly filters out people who were never a good fit, and it attracts the ones who might be, right? Think of the ad, it's just a doorway into the house, right? It's not a conversation. It's them going, do I even want to go in? Right. So if you have tried to have an entire conversation inside that ad, you are either overwhelming people or you begin to attract the wrong kind of attention. And so when it comes to ads, this is one of the biggest things I see go wrong. Okay? People want the ad to do the convincing. So they cram everything in it, their prices, their services, their promises, these slogans, right? That are meant to work for everyone. But when you aim that ad at everyone, you end up with no one. Or I think even worse, you end up with the wrong people. Right. So the ad's job is simply to earn attention from the right person and give them a reason to look at the next step, which is your landing page. Right. Your landing page is where the belief is built. Your landing page is where fear is resolved. Your landing page is where trust either forms or it doesn't. And so if you have a weak landing page, even the best ad won't save it. And if the landing page is strong, even an average ad can work. That's why you'll see sometimes bad ads sell and great ads fail. The difference isn't the ad, it's what happens after the click. The, in this part, write it down if you can. Ads borrow attention, the page builds belief. And once you get that, everything begins to shift, to change, right? So for me, I love long form copy. And in my experience, for us in massage therapy, it beats short form almost every time because massage is not a low trust service. You're not trying to have someone make an impulse buy, a quick sell. You're not having someone download a product and just forget about it. Again, you're asking them to trust you with their stress, with the pain that keeps them up at night, with their history, with their vulnerability. That can't happen just by saying, hey, book a session with me, book an appointment. It doesn't happen instantly. And so while yes, I again will say short form can work, right? But it only works when that trust is already there, right? Now, I look at my business where we have our clients have been coming to us for years. I can send out that quick email going, hey, I have an appointment open Tuesday. Would anyone like it? And it will be filled, right? Because that trust already exists. So when someone already knows you, believes in you, and doesn't need reassurance, perfect. You short form, 10 out of 10. But for most of you, you're not starting there. And this is where, again, I misunderstood this myself, talked about the audio programs, 100,000 people. It's just amazing when that trust is there, how easy it can be. But it doesn't work that way, right? You have to take that time to build that trust. That's where you get to cash in long term. But for most of you watching this, you probably don't have it yet. So you have to slow down, take a step back. For me, I had to put my ego at the door. No one knew how great Pete was. right? So I had to take that step back. I had to build belief first. I had to answer questions people weren't asking out loud. I had to show them I understood them before asking for them to commit. That's when I've learned my copy started becoming longer, not because longer is better, but because that's where the trust takes space. And today, that trust matters even more. We live in a time where scam artists are smooth talkers. They're everywhere. People have been burned. People are skeptical. People are cautious. And long form gives you room to slow the decision down so people move forward confidently. Build safety. It builds trust. It builds the feeling that this is right for me. And the truth is, once that feeling exists, that's when people stop shopping around. So, from this section, the one line to remember: short form is a privilege, not a starting point. Long form is how you earn it. So, how does long form actually convert? This is the main reason I think people hesitate to use long form copy. Um, It's because they imagine everyone reading it the same way. And the truth is, they don't. People interact with the page in very different ways, and long form works because it supports all of them at once. See, some people, yes, they will read every single word. They'll read it twice, three times, four times. And when they do, those are the people, oh, they're not casually browsing, they're deciding, right? These are the people who want certainty. They want to understand how things work. So when they finish reading, they're usually already sold, right? They took the time. I've had people spend 8, 10 minutes reading my copy, and I can guarantee, like clockwork, if they reach that moment, they're booking a session. It might not necessarily be in that moment, because I've had some people, they'll read it and they're like, oh, I was at work when I read it, and I went back later. Some of them were like, I was really pondering it, and the words that were said, like, it was just kept talking to me in my mind, and I just knew I had to just do it, right? They're sold if they're taking that much time. Other people, they scan, they jump between headings, they look for signals, they're checking for red flags, right? It's amazing because a lot of people will go, oh, they're lazy because they're just scrolling up and down looking. Like, no, they're protecting themselves. Those are the people that have been burned before, right? They're the ones that go, yeah, but they said this and they didn't produce that, and they're the ones who are scared. And what that long form is now giving them, it gives them that structure, gives them that language, it gives them proof that's not vague or exaggerated. Then there's just the people who scroll. They move quickly, something catches their eye, they read it, they continue on, later they come back. You know, that, in my experience, is the most common person, right? And when you have long form, it allows someone to engage at their own pace without pressure. And so it doesn't demand attention, it earns it. And so when we think of long form copy, what it does really well is it removes fear. And when we don't have fear, we have trust. Right? So the long form copy, it answers questions without calling them out. It reassures without overpromising. It creates the feeling that the decision to book an appointment makes sense here, not elsewhere. When that happens, people don't want to window shop anymore. Think about it like this. If you went to someone and they're like, tell me all your problems, and you trust them and you just laid it all out there for them. And then someone else comes in and they go, hey, tell me about all your problems. Are you going to want to go through it again? Are you going to want to give them the same energies you gave the first person? No. You typically go with the first person because they laid it all out there. They understand it. They get it. They already internally made the decision. And so the same thing goes for people who visit your website, right? They're no longer comparing prices. They're no longer clicking through five, six, 10 different websites. They're really built on the outcome that matters most. And when trust is built, price stops being the main decision, which is why for a lot of my clients, I recommend raising your prices because they're no longer shopping on price. You're no longer compared to Mary Joe down the road. You're you and only you, not because you're the cheapest, because you feel like the right choice. So now we understand the purpose of the ad, the purpose of the long form, how they work together. How do you do it, right? How do you build that ad? How do you build that amazing ad that converts, right? That gets people to stop scrolling and look at your site so they can now become trust and belief. Well, an ad is a relatively simple thing. 6 steps is all you need to creating the ad itself. One is a hook. You need something to get them to stop scrolling. My ads start with a clear outcome, right? Does your neck hurt by 2 p.m. while you're at your desk at work, right? Do you not have a license and you need someone to come to you for a massage, right? Are you visiting and you need help, right? An outcome, something for they go, oh, that's me, my maybe it's not my neck gets sore to him, but my arms do, my carpal tunnel, right? Because I'm typing all day. They're going to see that and go, oh, I wonder if they can do it for me, right? So then you go into the qualifier, who this is for, right? So this is where it's great if you call out your area, but not needed. But you can just be like, oh, this is for people who, work in an office and they find that they're at the computer all day and their muscles get tight and sore, right? It could be this is for sports people. This is for people who are blue collar workers, who are plumbers. Like, you can call out anyone, but you don't want to call out everyone. A quick thing of what makes you different, of who you are as a person, build some credibility, some authority, set up some boundaries, right? Like, this is professional massage, right? Kind of weeds out the creeps and the weirdos and the ones who are looking for a different type of massage. And then you have your call to action, right? Book now, learn more, right? That typically ones of my go-to is learn more or book now. But you can do, other ones that, Meta or wherever you are, YouTube allows, right? Or Google. But you always want to call to action. The other thing you can add in is scarcity, but only if it's real. How many of you have seen something where it goes for 60 minutes more? You can get this. And then you go back 4 days later, 60 minutes more. You can still get this for this price. People can read BS very quickly. They can be turned off real quick. Now, because this is a service-based industry, scarcity is real. Let's say you only want to see 16 people a week. That is real scarcity, right? You can say, I only take 16 people a week. That is real, and people won't be turned off by it. And the quicker you fill it in, you may get 10 members who see you every month, and now that 16 now goes down to 14 or 13. I got 13 appointments every month or every week, right? Real scarcity helps. Fake scarcity smells like BS, and people will instantly be like, I don't want to work, right? Now, when it comes to the landing page, again, a lot longer. The hook, right? You need a hook. You need someone to go, this is me, right? This is the type of person I need help with, right? So again, I think of my page, right? It's your neck hurts, your neck is stiff by 2 p.m. You need relief. Boom, someone goes, that's me. They're stopping, they're reading, right? After you have the hook, we get into the actual content. So the intro story is stuff like you learned along the way, right? But without it being focused on you. So I know it's like I didn't know, right? That's how I always start writing it out. I go, I didn't know this, I didn't know that, I didn't know this. And it turns into, wow, people think this, people feel this, people believe this, right? And then it goes into the epiphany bridge, the moment everything changed, right? Where you go, man, I learned that doing a routine doesn't work when you have a stiff neck. You know, it, so we'll go back to the intro story, right? Things like I didn't know. We'll go on with my massage therapist of the stiff necks, right? It's I didn't know that the posture of sitting in the chair made your neck hunch, right? And it tightened all the muscles and it does this. I didn't know it can actually create migraines because it pinches the vagus nerve and right, all these different things. Then that's what it turns into. Did you know that it does this? Then it turns into the moment things changed for me when I realized all of that, I started doing this differently. Right? It's no longer a routine. It's looking for those pressure points, those tight spots. And once those tight spots are released, everything feels better. That person is going to be like, oh man, yeah, I noticed that. I realized that, right? Content, teaching. I'm a firm believer. You teach them something, right? Show them three beliefs that are wrong, like the stiff necks. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what? You just need that air pillow that's going to just rest your head back, right? Those don't help, right? They're momentarily, man, they can feel good. Long term, it's not making it better, right? And so you're taking three beliefs that they're doing and you're going, while that may work short term, you need this for long term, right? You're reframing, you're teaching them on, well, yes, demand is TikTok ads, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, right? All going, here's the miracle thing. And we fall for it every time. You're teaching them that to go, well, yeah, like you spent money on that, you got that, you tried that, and it didn't last long term. Here's why, right? Three beliefs, three myths, however you want to look at it. Then you have your offer, right? This is what I offer, massage therapists I have very much. What I offer is non-routine based massages. We go over pressure, depth, we go over length, all that's going to be best for you, right? On my page, I have a little quiz they can take that'll recommend a very specific one based on their answers, right? That off so now someone looks at it and they go, man, like this is amazing. Like, this is exactly what I need. And when they take that quiz, they almost always pick the one that the quiz recommends for them, including the add-ons and everything like that. But you give them your offer. Now you give them your services on the price, everything, right? Then you talk about you, right? You talk about your education, your experiences, what makes you different, who you are as a person. So now you're not just a massage therapist, you're Pete the massage therapist. I feel like I know you already. I feel like I understand you already and how you work. Right? Then it's who is this for and who is this not for? This is the qualifier. This is where you're going to get the people that are going to leave your session going, oh my goodness, that was the best thing in the world, right? I can think of like for my massage therapist, the one of the first times when someone left and they were able to, when they came in, the arm could barely go straight out, and when they left, it was straight up in the air, and they were just like, "Oh my, I haven't been able to do that in years." Oh, in that moment, sold for life. They were like, "We will never go anywhere else. If I ever meet someone who needs a massage, this is the place they need to go." They became that loyal fan, that loyal customer because when they read the page, they went, this is who this is for, this is for them, and who it's not for. And I guarantee you, they'll go out and go, oh, it's not for you, right? If it's someone who doesn't fit that category. Then it comes in, you want to add more value, right? You want to get them to really go, oh, this is worth every penny, right? And it's not about adding more services, more like hot towels, CBD. It's not like that, but it's really expanding on what you're offering them, right? Is it quiet space? Do one thing, one of my massage therapists really loves in her ad is you don't need to talk if you don't want to. it's amazing how many people asked her, like, do I have to talk to you the whole time? And she's like, you don't have to if you don't want to. She was asked it enough times, she moved it into her copy, and people loved it. That's part of her value stack. You don't have to talk to me. I got an audio book, right? I'll listen to that the whole time. You want to talk to me? That's great too, right? I love talking. You know, is it a quiet space? Is it warm? Is it comfortable? Like, you know, add in all these different things that are really great for them. And with everything, you need a guarantee, not like money back. I for our service industry, money back guarantee is not a great thing. Um, we do it if you're not feeling better, after your first session. If you don't notice a difference from when you walked in to when you left, we will give you a free upgrade for your next session, right? But we are so confident in our ability that once they experience, like that lady who just came in, arm can't do this, all of a sudden up here, there's no question about it, right? But that's where you have to have belief in yourself as a massage therapist. But that belief is what's going to separate you from everyone else in the industry, because you're going to have something nobody else has. Again, this is where um, next thing is scarcity, urgency, only if it's real, right? I know people who I've worked with where they do massage therapy for after surgery, stuff like that. And you need to get in quick, right? You need to be like, don't let this fluid build up. Like these things can happen. That's real urgency, right? But if you're like, oh, I'm hitting you next door by 2 p.m., make sure you come in by 4 because like it's gonna be bad. People are gonna be like, oh, you're just trying to sell me. I'm break the trust instantly, right? Same with scarcity. Now, I only got 3 appointments left. Unless it's real, they're gonna really know. And if it's someone new, I don't recommend saying that, but saying like, hey, I only take 16 people a week is very real, right? Um, Price anchoring, right? Again, this is nothing about the prices, but it's really, again, showing more on how you are going to help them and how the differences they're going to feel and what's going to happen in the session, right? Then you build up that CTA, that yes ladder of like, all right, like this is the moment where they're going to go, this is it. Like this is what I need. Like this is the part of me that's going to be like, buy now or come back later, right? With that, underneath that, I'll always have my social proof. If you have Google reviews, you can put the Google reviews right on there for most cases. You can type them. If you can get video reviews, that's amazing. You know, you it's one where I understand the industry, people are like a private. You never force someone to give a review, but you should always ask, because people who you change their life are happy to give you a review, right? And the more reviews you get, the more trust you are building. And you need that trust all the time. And then you close with future pacing of like, this is what you're going to feel like after. This is the life you're going to live after, because they lived the life, the tightness, the knots, everything came in, their life changed, not for the better, right? Because otherwise they wouldn't want to come, right? And you get all you're saying is we're going to bring you back to that life. And so you got to think about that. Now, this is it for the landing page, right? For me, this is about 30 hours worth of work, of researching, of looking up stuff, of asking clients, right? This is 30 hours of my time to make a page like this. It's not quick. If you go, oh man, I bang this out in 10 minutes, you're probably missing an awful lot, right? This should take you a week to do or be able to write this out. The ad can be a little bit quicker because once you have this, you can pull from it for the ad to be like, oh yeah, this is blah blah blah, fill in the blanks type of stuff. But this is the meat and potatoes, right? This is where take your time and read it and go, if I didn't know me, would I want to take on this service, right? Would I be willing to pay that price to get that result? The answer is yes. Beautiful. Ask someone who you know that isn't just going to be like, oh, yeah, 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 love it, great, great, great. You don't want those people. You want the person to be like, well, have you thought about this or what about this? Because it can just give you food for thought. 30 hours, though, on average to create that page. So I want to show you what this looks like in real time. So I have a new client. We're 7 days in for this. I'm going to zoom on in. She does $10 a day in ads. In that first 7 days at $10 a day, she has had 9 people visit her site. Out of those 9 people, 6 of them book. That's really good odds, right? And on here, we can see like the click through rate percentage 2.43, 7.2 click through rate overall. Essentially, anything over 2% here and 1% here is considered great, right? Because the truth is, out of everyone that sees it, not everyone's going to stop and click. Um, well, 1 to 5% for both of those is considered to be an amazing ad. Yeah. 7 days in, no new, but someone who was like, oh man, I don't know, I'm going to pay my bills. All of a sudden, she now has 6 new clients that she didn't have and wouldn't have had in Las Vegas. So then I want to show you my numbers. These are just for the last 30 days. Um, I spend $25 a day for the ad, and I'm paying, 30 cents per landing page view. She pays $1.58 per person to visit the page. Mine's more rural, I would say, than Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a busy town, a lot of competition. That this price in Las Vegas is super cheap. Right? I pay 30 cents for that. People who actually overall um, interact with my ads, 5.8%. People who click the link, 3.65. Again, know their metrics. I would never change with or mess with because it's one where amazing ad work. Right now, that's getting people just to stop to go. Do I trust this enough to see what's next? Right. That's all this part is. This isn't about the landing page. This is about just the ad going. How can you tell if it's working? Those are the only 2 numbers that matter. Right. Is the click through link and the click through rate total. Right now, disclaimer, because it's very important. The results shown are from real massage businesses using this approach. Outcomes vary based on consistency, your ad spend, your market, your follow through. It's not a guarantee. It's just an example of what's possible when you start using the long form copy in the ads, right? Um, from there, I wanted to show you my massage therapist calendar. Um, so this is December of 2025. Um, Busy month, right? This is a $10,000 month for her, right here. And it's one where you can see she definitely took time off. She wasn't like, oh man, I'm jam packed every single day. Certain days had 4 people, some had 3, some had 1, right? This one, she normally takes Sundays off. I'm assuming she must know that person and wanted them to come in. It's probably one of her regulars who stuff like that. But this is her $10,000 month right there. Now, I want to show you what January looks like. Now, at the time I'm recording this, it's January 7th. So, you know, this is what she has booked already. I will go over more on everything on here. Some of these people are new. A good amount of these people are members. So they come back month after month. And some of them have seen the ad also. And um, I guess that's the new one, right? They saw the ad, they booked, and her January month is already pretty booked, right? For her, I want to say she only allows, I think 16, maybe 17 clients a week, right? So if you look at like this week here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So she saw 15 last week. This week she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that gives her 5 bookings left. One, two, three, four, two, four, six, eight, 10, 12, 14. So 15 this week. She has one left. Two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. So she has six left. So she could probably say, hey, look, I only have five openings a week, right? And that's real scarcity. Because she can look at her calendar. She could show anyone her calendar, be like, I only take 16 people a week. Here's what I have left, right? Now, this is for a month that's normally pretty slow, right? Even December, she was talking to people and they're like, December was dead. And she was like, dead. Like, it was the busiest month for me. You know, when you do things right, um, it works out really well. And I'll go over what she made last year. She allowed me to share it with you. So, um, it, so with that going on with stuff for landing pages, the creep problem, right? Especially when I see people who live in busier areas, um, the weirdos, right? The people who are pushing the boundaries of what they can get in massage, and it's a big fear, right? And so it is one where I will always say has to be qualified in your long form copy of who this is for, who this is not. Um, right? They run ads and they get the wrong people. It's uncomfortable. They push boundaries. They're not for professional massage, right? Um, and a lot of people, in my experience, believe this is a Facebook problem, but it's not. It's amazing. So like I forget the website to my mind now, but you can go on a website and it'll show you all the places that will do unprofessional massages, right? And you go to their website, man, they look a lot like yours, right? They go massage this, that. They're generic. They use the same, roll B photos, right? Just the stock photos. They they look just like your website. So why wouldn't people think you're just like them? It's not an internet problem. It's not a Facebook problem. It's just not how ads work. It's a platform, right? It's them looking at your website, going, "Oh, you're copying the same things they do." It attracts that vague intent. And so when your messaging is generic, it leaves too much open for interpretation. And so if the language doesn't clearly communicate professionalism, boundaries, those for the service is for, it also needs to communicate who it's not for, right? And that's where the long form fixes it, where you don't get those people anymore. It sets the expectations without sounding defensive, without listing out a standard of rules. It communicates professionalism before they even continue on, right? So when your copy is clear, it does two things. Pulls the right people in, it makes the wrong people run because they will go, "This doesn't feel right for me for what I'm looking for," which is what you want, right? So what happens because of that is you get fewer leads, but you get better ones, right? That's not a bad thing. And in the beginning, we all think it's bad. We're like, I need the most, I need the most. No, you need the right. You don't need the most, you need the right. The right are fewer than the most, right? And when you do it right, you get fewer awkward conversations, you get fewer boundary issues, you get more clients who show up respectful, serious, and ready. So jot this down. You're not getting creeps, you're inviting them with a copy and paste website, right? So when you change it, they no longer show up. So yeah. Now let's get to the business side, right? This is the side where it's not sexy, it's not client facing, it's boring, right? But I want you to understand the massage is the fulfillment. It's not the money. The massage is the end of the line, the final thing before you call it upselling, however you want to look at it, have them become members, repeat customers. Massage is the fulfillment, not where money is made. I'm going to say that again. Massage is the fulfillment, not where money is made. This part can feel uncomfortable at first, But I want to be very clear about what I'm not saying. I'm not saying the massages don't matter. I'm not saying skill's not important. And I'm definitely not saying the work you do isn't invaluable, because it is. But it's important to understand where the value actually turns into a decision. The massage delivers the promise. It fulfills what was already believed before the client ever walked in. The decision to book happens earlier. So think about it this way, that it happens when someone reads your page and goes, this feels right. It happens when their fear settles down. It happens when trust forms. That is where you make your money, their revenue, right? It is created through positioning, through trust and belief. Fulfillment happens in the session. If the massage itself were it was where the money was made, change would win every time. They have more rooms, more staff, more convenience. What they don't have is you. See, independent therapists don't win by offering more services. They win by creating confidence before the appointment. That's why marketing that focuses only on the session will struggle. It puts all the weight on the table when the real work already happened before the booking. So here's a big shift on how you see everything. The massage is the end of the line, not the start. And once that clicks, marketing will stop feeling like self promotion and it'll start feeling like alignment. You're not convincing people to book, you're helping the right people decide to book with you. So let's go into the chains for a quick moment, right? Chains are very good at what they're designed to do. They win on price, they win on scale, they win on convenience. They have more room, more staff, more availability. You can probably walk in same day and get a massage right then and there, right? They can offer memberships at prices most people can't compete with. They can afford to treat massage like it's just a repeatable system. It's not a flaw for them, it's their model. So the problem happens when independent massage therapists try to compete inside that model. When you sell services the same way chains do, listing modalities, durations, prices, you step into their playing field. And on that field, they will almost always win, right? Independent massage therapists don't win on price or scale. You win on trust, connection, and your experience. They win because they're not interchangeable. They win because the client feels seen, heard, cared for as an individual, right? Usually that's how you win, right? Not the big change. Um, right? When you sell services, it turns you into a commodity that they can again look everywhere. When you're selling experience, you turn into a choice. So when someone chooses a chain, they're often choosing convenience. When someone chooses an independent massage therapist, they're choosing confidence. And marketing that focuses on experience, how you work, how you listen, how clients feel after, that creates the confidence long before the appointment. And that is, I say levels the playing field, but I think if I could rewrite it for here and now, it's not not what levels the playing field, and what changes the game altogether, right? That's how you're gonna win without racing to the bottom. Now, one of the biggest things I recommend for you is to have a membership, right? Something that can get them back month over month over month. Memberships are one of the most understood parts of a business, right? Especially a massage business. Most therapists hear about memberships, and man, I've heard it plenty times. They immediately think they need, better packaging, better pricing, better scripts, better this, better that. They don't like the term because the chains use it, right? You don't have to use the word membership. You can use wellness program. You can use VIP services. You can call it whatever you want, but you need people to come back month after month, right? You need people to book in to pay you to reduce the amount of advertising you're going to have to do long term. You know, uh, well, the big thing I'll say I've noticed when it comes to people offering memberships, they do it too early, and I'm perfect example of being a victim of this, right? I got so I'll say arrogant because we were doing so well in our ads. I was like, no one like I'll just skip that first massage. I'll just get people booked into the membership right away. No, no, it doesn't work that way. Um, the membership only becomes a plausible idea after the experience, right? So before someone continues on with ongoing care, they need to know three things. One, you understand their needs. Two, the sessions are actually going to help them, and coming back makes sense for them. That's it. They need to know those three things, right? And when they believe those three things, the memberships they fit perfectly, right? If one of those is missing, if two of those is missing, if all three of those is missing, pushing a membership, oh man, it feels weird. Um, it makes people go, "Oh, you're just trying to get my money," you're not trying to help. And once that person feels that, any yes that they would have had, gone, right? Um, the long form copy, it plays a quiet but powerful role here, right? It pre-frames people for long term care before they book for it. It kind of seeds it. So it gets to be watered. They have the session and they're kind of like, oh man, like this is great, right? It removes that one and done experience for, my massage therapist, the sore necks, right? It's not a one and done, right? You need to continue to loosen it, right? You need to do exercise. You need to normalize consistency over urgency. And so by the time someone gets on the table, they're already kind of open to the idea of coming back, not because they were sold, because it just feels logical of like, oh yeah, this, helping, let's say, the draining and after surgery, stuff like that. Like it's not a one and done. Hey, you're gonna be here maybe for every other week for 6 months. Once they experience it, then you bring it up of like, all right, like here's how the schedule will work, this, that, and the other. It feels logical. It doesn't feel like you're just being sold. It feels like, oh, that is the right choice to make because this is the best I felt, right? It needs to be one of the calmest things you do, but it will make you look very different from the rest because you're not pushing it. You're offering it to the right people. You know, you're not gonna once you get it set in place, you stop chasing new clients just to survive. You're not panicking when there's a few spots. You're building the relationships with these people, and having a membership is better than packages, right? Because members, they're not something you sell. There's something, that people look forward to. You know, um, I look at my business and the members we have, they look forward to their massage more than any other day in that month. Because they get to not only just get the massage, but they love our massage therapist. They love her as a person. They love what they do. What doesn't happen that they talk to her. And um, but I want to understand that membership only happens when trust comes first. That's it. You need that trust. Now, when it comes to your massage marketing, I want to understand when, and I'm willing to bet a lot of you have experienced this, where you just feel like you're throwing dirt at the wall, hoping something sticks, right? It's not because you're lazy, it's not because you're incapable. But the truth is, it looks simpler than it actually is, right? I showed you the framework that I use, right? You can use that framework. You can probably even put that framework into ChatGPT and get something back that might be somewhat decent, right? I'm not going to argue. AI gets better every single day, you know, but it's going to miss a lot of the nuances, right? From the outside, man, it just looks like words on the page. It's so easy to assume that if you can write, you can do it yourself. But I want to understand that true copywriting is not just typing words, it's the sequence, it's the psychology, but more importantly, it's about restraint, right? It's about knowing what to say first, what to hold back, and what not to say at all. And this is where most do it yourself attempts break down, right? It's why we all copy someone else's landing page, right? And why, when we copy it, it doesn't work the same for us as it does for them because it's not about the words, it's about the results and the feelings. And people can feel if it's real from you or if it's fake from you, right? So when I show you the template, man, it's going to be super helpful. It gives you structure. It reduces the fear of having a blank page of going, I don't know what to write next. I don't know how to continue. I don't know how to move forward. Right. But typically, a template like that, all right, and again, it's why I just give you headlines versus exactly what to write, fill in the blank stuff, because any of those things, man, they remove the most important part, you, right? It generalizes your experience, it flattens your voice, it turns something that should be personal into something generic. And the truth is, generic copy is what you should be trying to avoid, right? And so, what you need is a little bit of nuance, right? It's how you describe your work without exaggeration. It's how you address fear without just calling it out, right? It's how you explain what makes you different without sounding like everyone else. And that level of nuance doesn't come from filling in the blanks. It comes from understanding people. And that is why so many well-intentioned do-it-yourself efforts feel like they're almost work. Like they almost work, but they never quite do, right? It's why they feel, and you can get them for $7, right? Because in theory they sound good, but they're taking you out of it, right? The way you write, the way you speak, the way you talk, right? It's the cost of guessing, right? When marketing doesn't work, most people don't notice the cost right away. They notice it in pieces, right? They notice a little money spent on ads that didn't turn into bookings. They notice the few hours here and there of tweaking headlines, changing images, rewriting posts. Another test, right? That doesn't really teach anything. And on its own, each part can feel manageable, but over time, the cost adds up. Now I can say there's the obvious cost, right? Money lost on ads. Um, that never really had a chance to work because the foundation wasn't there. But there is that quieter cost, time, right? I told you earlier, it takes me about me, and I do quite a few of these, right? It takes me 30 hours just to write the copy, right? It's time I spend adjusting things without really knowing the what or the why, especially in the week. Like now I have things worked out pretty well and it's still 30 hours, right? But when you do it yourself, you don't know why you're making a change or what you're doing. You're just going, all right, let's see if this works, right? There's a lot of time spent second guessing decisions. And that was one where my wife used to get mad at me in the beginning working on our page and whatnot because I'd be like, oh, I'll just change this word. And then like 2 hours will go by. I'm like, oh, I gotta change this word, right? It's second guessing certain things. Oh, this sounds a little better, right? And again, like I in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, this just sounds better, right? It probably works. Um, I spent a lot of time learning, just enough to be overwhelmed, but not enough to feel confident. You know, and again, I overall, I in the past 7 years, I probably spent about $250,000 in learning marketing, right, from the greats because I wanted to be really good at it. Because I, when I opened my business first, um, I got the education, the skills, and all that, and I was like, man, people are just gonna come to me, and not how it works, right? That is the first time I really learned that being skilled in one thing does not mean you're going to have a successful business. And I had to go through a lot of turmoil, a lot of pain, a lot of growth. And that is such an emotional cost that I don't want other people to go through. But there is such an emotional cost to this work, right? Empty slots in your calendar, they just don't affect the revenue, your bottom dollar, and they create pressure. I remember the pressure to change my prices more often than not, to give a discount, to post more, to wonder if am I any good? Like, do I even deserve this? Should I just close up my door? Like, should I just go back working a 9 to 5? So much internal pressure that wore me down. Right? Eh, I'm willing to bet a lot of you watching this probably felt that. Um, it makes a lot of good massage therapists and other people question their own skills. It leads people to quit too early or settle into a version of the business they never actually wanted, not because they fail, but because guessing gets exhausting. And here's something I think we all experienced. Um, 1 month of bad ad costs more than doing it right once. You know, um, because what we're losing isn't just money; it's energy, it's time, it's conviction, right? It's confidence, it's momentum. Like it comes into your sessions where you go, am I any good? And you get that booking, you're like, I don't know if I'm any good still. It affects you on so many levels. Then you don't get the massage that you're capable of giving. It's about now separating the two. Business is one, massage is the other. And when you're new or early or just getting started, you have to wear both, but understand they're two separate parts, right? Getting it right isn't about perfection. It's about removing the guesswork so your effort is finally compounding into a result that grows every month versus resets every month. And again, that's where I will stand behind the power of memberships, right? To grow that month over month, you will feel better and better every single time. So I wanted to show you now last year's sales for one of my massage therapists. And you may be able to look at this and see where the ad started to kick in. So you can see in 2024 made 45,000, gross sales 43, and net profit. This year, and again, like if you look at it, you can see where it kind of took over, which is June, if you're wondering, right? Was that they went from 45 to 77, 43 to 77 over the whole year. Once they narrowed in their ads, the lowest month they had was still over five. It's probably closer to six, right? And then they broke 10. Um, this is what happens when you show up consistently, right? This is what happens. A 70% growth over a year. That is unheard of in any business, you know. So think about that for you, right? Getting the ads to work makes the biggest difference in your lifestyle, right? I know for her, she thought it was funny. So July is the month she goes on vacation every year, and her again, like you look at it, you can see the previous year, like almost no business. Um, and that year, I think this is probably closer to like almost seven on the list. And she's like, how? Like I took a week off, and you would think my profits would suffer. It's like, well, no, like one, you raise your prices, and two, you have ads that are converting, and people are booking, and while you took that week off, people were still booking. Where that year, taking a week off really meant, well, now marketing stops because she's all referrals and stuff like that before. Um, all that stops when you go on vacation. Not just vacation, maybe the week before and the week after. So your whole month is basically gone. Where now, yeah, you're having fun that week, and your ad is still going, oh, new appointment, new appointment, new appointment, new appointment with it. So that was one where it just goes to show, yeah, again, 70% grows and grows, 76% growth in profit. Yeah, net sales, net profit, right? Um, think about that, right? That's honestly what is capable when you do this. Now, a lot of people go, Pete, why don't you do this as a course? And the truth is, maybe at some point, right? But it's hard, right? It's not just a set of videos. It's not just, oh, here it is. Here's what you do. Yeah, right. I'm very say in tune, right? Like I'm not in it just for you to get it and never use it, right? Um, I like seeing what's happening. I'm an active participant. I think that's what I'm trying to say, right? When someone works with me, it's not just like, oh, here you go, here's everything. It's all right. Like, let me work with you to get it all set up, right? Because there's anyone who can guarantee you that they'll give you one set of copy and you're set for life. They're liars, right? They're scammers. The truth is, we put copy out there, we watch it, and we make subtle changes. That's ultimately how it works, and that's the truth behind it, right? And so you got to watch the numbers, right? You got to watch the metrics to see what's working. Because is the ad working and the landing page not? Is the ad not working and we really can't tell on the landing page, right? Um, and so when it's just a course, you don't watch your numbers, right? They don't see what's actually happening in real money in real time. That's you're playing with, right? Um, they can't tell the difference between a page that looks good and one that's quietly failing, right? The templates don't know your business. They don't know how you work. They don't know your boundaries. They don't know what kind of clients you are or the ones trying to avoid. It just fills space. And the nuance, that's the thing that makes copy convert. And that is something that can never be automated. Um, Nuance is knowing when to slow down the message, when to be direct, when to remove something instead of adding more, right? It's about thinking. And most their massage service, they don't need another strategy. They don't need it to try another idea. They need someone who can look at the whole picture and make decisions with them. That's why I don't make this a course. Because it's not about giving you more to do. It's about building that part of your business that's been missing to actually make it work, right? So what I offer for everyone is really a done for you. This is the point where everything we talked about turns into something tangible, right? So instead of you trying to piece it together on your own, this is where I come in. I build it with you, right? What I do is very simple, right? I'll ask you questions, you'll answer, we'll go back and forth, right? I want you to have a custom landing page, right? The copy. I want to write it specifically for you, your practice, the kind of clients you want to work with. And if we're being honest, I have done, man, over the years, probably 2 dozen, 3 dozen pages in massage alone. I've done other um, fields for massage, at least at the time of recording, right? I have never written 2 pages the exact same, right? No 2 pages should ever be the same because you are different. Your practice is different. The kind of work you do is different. It's not templated. It's not generic. It's, you'll get it and you'll be like, oh, this doesn't sound like anyone else, right? With that, I also want to make sure the ad matches the landing page because otherwise it won't work, right? And so you'll get a primary ad along with some variations. right? So you can try different things if you want to try. Maybe one resonates more with you, right? So the messaging works together instead of feeling disconnected. And everything I write is to do one thing well, to filter the right people in and quietly filter the wrong people out. And so, yes, I'm very upfront with this. It means you get less leads, right? Less people, less clicks, right? Less people looking at your landing page. That's okay. Because those who aren't clicking, those are the low quality leads, right? Which means we get fewer low quality leads, you get fewer uncomfortable conversations, and you get more clients who already trust you before they book. Then you just got to fulfill it, right? But the writing itself, as great as it is, and not to say like I'm the best out there, but I work very hard to learn a lot about this. Um, what makes this work very different, in my opinion, is the fact that after I write it and you set it up and you get the ad running, I'm with you for 30 days, right? Every week we meet so I can go over your metrics to go, all right, that looks good. That doesn't look good. Let's tweak this. Let me rewrite this. Like, yeah, I don't want you wondering what to tweak, right? I don't want you to try to interpret the numbers on your own. That is when I find people quit too early. So we look at everything happening together, right? We watch the metrics. We make small, intentional changes so the system works before I step away. But because of that, I really can only work with about 10 people a month, right? Because each person I want to give real attention to, right? I don't want to just be like, oh yeah, I looked at metrics 5 minutes before our meeting. This is what's good. I want to be like, all right, I've been watching this. I've been looking at it. Um, this is what I believe we got to change. This is what's working. Just keep it going. We got to trust, right? You're going to have that direct access for 30 days. So it doesn't feel like you're just outsourcing and hoping. It's a true collaboration between you and I, right? But because of that, again, 30 hours is what it takes me to create the landing page, right? I am, I think by definition, considered a workaholic, which is why I think I can take 10 people a month, um, right? But the goal isn't just to give something live, right? Just to get it out. The goal is to leave you with marketing that actually supports your business instead of stressing you. Now, with that, like everything else, right? Who is this for and who is it isn't, right? This really works best when a few things are already true. One, you don't need to be perfect. Two, you don't need years of experience of trying to run ads. And three, you need to be committed. And what I mean by being committed is to treating your massage practice like a real business, not just a skill you hope people find. This works best if you can invest $25 a day into the ads, right? Like I said, I showed you one person earlier. They can do $10 a day. Out of the $10, they got six people. It works with $10, but $25 a day is where I found that sweet spot, right? You can work up to it. You can start with the 10, go to 15 when things start coming in, go to 20, then right. But no, like that should be your goal. Not forever, not blindly. Like you're just gonna put money in so we can gather real data. So real decisions can be made based on reality, not guessing. And that is one of the best things we can do is base a decision on reality, not just guessing like, oh, I guess it's not working. I guess I'll turn it off. Right? But most importantly, this is for people who want something sustainable. I don't do tricks. I don't do spikes up and down. I don't do short-term wins that create long-term stress. Not who I am. So if you want, if what you want is a business that feels calmer, a schedule that doesn't rely on panic marketing, and clients who come already trusting you, then this makes sense, right? If you're looking for shortcuts or hoping to avoid putting anything into the process, this is probably won't feel like the right fit, and that's okay, right? Because my goal here isn't to work with everyone; it's to work with people who I can genuinely help, right? And so before we take the next steps or even talk about them, right? I want to be clear about how this works and what happens if things don't go perfect, right? You're not buying a promise of perfection. You're buying a process that's really thought through, right? It's supported and it's adjusted in real time, right? There is a one revision guarantee because this isn't about getting it right on the first try. It's about dialing it in on what the real world shows us, right? So I like to set expectations that are clear from the start, what's included, right? What we're watching, what success actually looks like in your business. So really, there's no mystery, there's no moving targets, right? And most importantly, if this doesn't work the way either of us expect, you're not abandoned, right? You're not going to be handed a file and told, good luck, right? You're not going to be left wondering what went wrong. We're going to look at it honestly, right? We're going to talk through what we learned, and you're not going to be left alone with any unanswered question. And for me, that matters, right? Because the real risk isn't trying something, that's thoughtful and supported. The real risk is continuing to guess in isolation, right? Throwing wet at the wall, hoping something sticks, right? And so with this, I want you to remember if it works, I love it. Amazing. Great. If it doesn't, you'll know exactly where to find me. And I'm going to be with you to help you every step of the way. That's the difference between selling something and standing behind it. So at this moment, in this time, you have two options. You can take what you learned here and try to implement it on your own, testing, adjusting, learning as you go. Or if you want this built correctly and supported while it's live for 30 days, you can apply and or book a call with me, whatever option I throw out there. I haven't decided that part yet, writing this. Um, right. The conversation we will have isn't gonna be a sales script, right? It's a fit check. I want to look at your business, your goals, whether this approach actually makes sense for you right now. If it does, great, we get to move forward. If it doesn't, you're gonna know that too, right? Again, it's a lot for me to take on 10 people a month. Um, so the spots they are limited. Um, Again, not to create the urgency, right? Because the truth is 30 hours to write a good quality converting landing page that has helped so many people. Um, and it takes attention, right? Attention to detail. It, again, like I look at it as like, oh, I write this, and I'm like, I'll step away for a bit. I'm like, oh, I can't do that. It takes attention, right? It takes revisions. Um, I only take a small number of clients, 10, right? I won't even just say as small as 10, so I can stay thoughtful and effective. So if you're ready to stop guessing, if you want marketing that supports your business instead of stressing it, if you want clients choosing you because they trust you, the next step is simple. Under this video, there's going to be the ability to apply or book a call. Um, and whether you choose to or not, like I hope you take all this information, you do what you can, right? You deserve to have a full calendar. Um, and so whatever you do, right, whether you move forward now or later, I want you to remember this. Stop selling services, start building belief because that is where everything changes.